Jason Kelce.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Thank you, Jason.
Sorry about that, guys.
Why don't we get started with Paul Domowitch and then Kristen Rogers?
Hey, Jace, how you doing?
Sounds good. Hey, Paul.
Jace, no one knows how these next several months are going to play out. But for the rookies, it's liable to be a lot like it was for you back in 2011 when you were coming off the lockout as a rookie, no spring work, needing to hit the ground running and learn, pick things up fast. You managed to do it real well in 2011. You ended up starting as a rookie. When you look back on that, what was the key for you in being able to make that transition in such a weird year? And what's going to be the key for this year's group of rookies?
Yeah, I mean it's really hard. I got the playbook 2 days before we started training camp. I think was when they started giving the later round pick guys playbooks. It's in some respects it's similar to the lockout year, but obviously this is even magnified because gyms have been closed, guys have struggled to find places to work out, and the Eagles have done a phenomenal job of kind of facilitating a way for guys to be able to get their work in. For me, part of it was a lucky situation. Howard Mudd wanted a different center, a more athletic guy than what he had before. And they were giving me an opportunity. And then part of it, I'm a pretty smart, cerebral guy, so I kind of grasp things pretty quickly, but there's no doubt that it's going to be a struggle for the young guys and for rookies and even free agents, more so for rookies. But, you're just going to have to, hit it that much harder when everything does get cleared up. The benefit for them is that they're at least getting the opportunity, and they're going to get an opportunity to meet with Stout, to meet with, coaches, get playbooks. So they'll be getting a lot more than I got during that off season. So, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, we'll go Kristen and then John Clark.
Hey, Jason, hope you're doing well with your family as well. We saw your post about the retirement announcement from arm wrestling, but not the retirement announcement from football. Can you walk us through your decision and how you're feeling physically and mentally coming back to the Eagles this season?
Yeah, sure. I didn't really think I needed to make a statement, but I guess enough people were asking and wondering what was going on. So I decided to make that kind of joking post or whatnot. But I've openly been, obviously some articles released, and it was informed that I've been contemplating retirement and been contemplating life after football the last few seasons, and this is all turned into a is he retiring? Is he retiring? And I can't say this enough. When I've decided to retire, you guys will know, and it'll be a very loud and emphatic statement, and it's going to be made most likely, barring some sort of physical ailment that comes up during the season or something like that. The retirement's going to happen, before training camp or before free agency, before the draft. It's not going to be sprung on out of nowhere, and that's not my goal. For me, last year, I very much felt comfortable with the way the season went, and I was pretty solidified early on that I was going to play another season, and I let the team know that very quickly. It's physically, it was one of the easier seasons for me, and I feel good. I have my little stuff I got to deal with here and there, and that's annoying, but definitely manageable. And then on top of that, the reason why I keep stepping back after the season to try and make these decisions is this NFL season is a grueling season. It's grueling physically, and more than people realize, it's grueling mentally, especially if you put the effort and the energy required to be great into it. And that takes its toll. That takes it's hard to continue to do that, and you want to reflect after you've calmed down and you've gotten back to normal, to see if you can do that again, and if you can give that same emotion and energy that's required to play at a high level to your teammates and to your coaches and to the city. So once that decision was made, once I knew that, I'm very much excited and can't wait to get going again with the guys. That decision became pretty easy.
Okay, we'll go John Clark and then Mike K.
Hey, Jason, hope your family and you are doing well. I was asking about the situation at left tackle, and Jason Peters is still out there, and Lane Johnson said there's a possibility that he comes back. Do you think part of the decision could be or should be about how uncertain this offseason is, and Andre maybe coming in and not having a real offseason to physically get to work in with you guys?
Maybe a little bit, I guess. But to be honest, OTAs and mini camps and everything are important, but the biggest thing for returning guys, and Andre being one of them, is going to be the training camp and physically going against somebody in pads. He's going to be able to go out there and do sets on squares still. He's going to be able to go out and work on little things. You don't improve that much physically in OTAs and mini camps. It's more of a mental improvement, and you're getting a little bit of technique work, but you're not putting shoulder pads on. And that's where Andre needs to continue to get reps at and continue to work at and continue to get one-on-ones and play in preseason games and live games and whatnot. But, I don't know what's going to dictate that decision. Obviously, Jason Peters has had an unbelievable career and the best player I've ever played with. So I'd always love to play with Jason Peters. That's, this decision is going to come down, and, it's not something that, I'm too worried about. I think that regardless of who's out there, I think we're in a good situation from an offensive line standpoint. Got great coaches, and I'm fired up to play some football. And it is hard to imagine potentially playing without Jason Peters and the personality and the guy that he's been to this organization. But this is, at some point it's going to be the end for all of us. And I don't know if that's this year. I don't know what's going to happen. And again, I'd love to play with the guy again, but obviously this is in the hands of people who are making important decisions and cap decisions and all these other things that is way over my head. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, we'll go to Mike K and then Dave Zingaro.
Hey, Jason, thanks for doing this. I was wondering if you could kind of tell me how much growth Isaac Seumalo's shown over the last, 12 months, last year, and what do you think the next step is for him as a guy who plays next to you?
Yeah, I think Isaac's a phenomenal player. I think that he's been somewhat better than I think. Well, he's definitely way better than people have any clue. And he's had a couple games that have been unfortunate. One game when he played Kansas City his second year in the NFL when he was first starting, he was playing against a guy that nobody knew at the time, but the D tackle ended up being second in sacks in the NFL last year. So it wasn't like he was playing against a scrub. And then last year he has, one game that kind of gave him some fits, but outside of that was as solid as any guard in the NFL. So I've been really happy to watch him go out and prove to all of you guys and everybody else who doesn't get the opportunity to see how good he is on a daily basis, that he's one of the premier guards in this league. He's smart, he's athletic, he's strong. The only question with him has ever been staying healthy, and he's done that for the last couple of years. So, I'm really happy with where Isaac's at. Physically, he's a great asset for us. Not only is he, are we not, worried about him, we're going to be leaning on him to be the unbelievable player that he is. So, I think a heck of a lot about Isaac Seumalo. I think he's one of the least respected guys on the line in the media and whatnot. But I tell you what, everybody in our room knows just how good he is.
Okay, we'll go Dave and then Les Bowen. Go ahead, Dave. Or Les, either one.
I'm sorry, I was muted. The Eagles brought in Rich Scangarello this offseason, and we were told the idea behind it was sort of that you could move Carson in and out of the pocket a little bit more. I'm curious what your understanding of that is and how difficult some of those things will be to implement this year with the unusual offseason.
Well, first of all, I don't think it'll be difficult at all because most of the stuff that they're doing are plays that we've already run. They might be, Rick might have little intricacies, structure-wise of how he's done it before, or little coaching points for one or two guys. But we have boot plays in our playbook. We have play action plays in our playbook. We have a pretty dynamic one. So I think it'll be fairly easy to implement whatever Rick wants to do. Now, how that fits in with the rest of the offense and what our bread and butter is, what our go-to plays are that we lean on, and things that go off of each other, that'll be a constant ebb and flow between, him, Stout, Deuce, Press, obviously Doug. All those guys are going to be figuring out how to blend the pass run, screens, play action, all that stuff so that it really lines up well. And I think Rick has a familiarity with kind of doing that as well. And he has some familiarity with some things that other teams are doing around the league. So he's a new voice that is going to be able to, bring a fresh mindset of ways to do things, which some of those are going to be better ways. Some of them are, we're probably not going to do so much. And in the end of the day, hopefully it makes our offense that much less predictable, that much more dynamic. And yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Les, and then Ruben Frank.
Hey, Jason, hope the wife and daughter are doing well. Wanted to ask you, what's it going to take for you to feel comfortable being in a locker room with 90 guys this year? And can you give us some insight into what you guys are doing right now remotely? What sort of learning is going on? Do you feel it's useful? We don't really have much of a picture of this right now.
Sure. Yeah. So right now, I think the NFL's kind of giving stipends to guys to get gym equipment in at their houses. It's a very small stipend, but it's something that is enough to where, partnered with the strength coaches and whatnot, we've facilitated a way for everybody to be able to get the workout and the physical preparation necessary. So that's the physical aspect of it. The mental aspect of it, we're getting great work online with virtual meetings and all that stuff. To be honest, that's more beneficial for a lot of the young guys and the rookies and whatnot. But that's a big part for those guys that haven't played a lot, is just getting those mental reps and seeing tape and seeing how to pass things and what you're looking for, and being disciplined with your eyes and all that stuff. What we're going to miss for sure is little technique things on the field, which I think we'll still be able to get in training camp. I don't think we're going to miss it too much, if I'm being honest, in OTAs. And maybe that's just because I'm an older guy and I've done this so many times. There's no doubt that younger guys get more from that than a lot of the older guys. But I still got to keep up on my craft as well. So, when all that resumes, that'll, we'll see. I think it's hard to say on the 90 guys in a locker room. It's hard to say on a season. I'll feel comfortable no matter what the NFL decides to do, to be honest with you, because I believe that at the end of the day, if the NFL is allowing 90 guys in a locker room, it's going to be in a safe and controlled environment, in my opinion. I don't think this is going to happen unless that is doable. So whether that is testing guys before they come in the building, as the testing procedures improve, whether that's, statistically new cases are so low at that point that there's not a big threat of 90 guys going into a locker room. I think there's a multiplicity of different factors and things that can shake out over the next few months, especially before the season. And I don't think we'll be back at work next to each other. And I don't think we'll be back at work playing and doing games and stuff like that unless the NFL is fully confident that it can be done in a safe manner. So I'll feel comfortable the moment they give the green light, to answer your question.
Okay, we have time for a couple more. So let's do Ruben and then Zach Berman.
Hey, Jace, thanks for doing this. Hey, just wondering, 10 years in now for you, is it harder to – you just talked about kind of how fired you up for the season and going out and playing again. Does it get harder for you to find that motivation, to find that drive, or does it come just as easy now as back when you were first, second year?
No, I really think that true competitors are always going to have that level of fire and determination and competitive desire. I don't think that goes away, to be honest with you. Energy levels kind of diminish a little bit with age, but the competitive and the drive and the desire to compete and win with teammates and all that stuff, that's just as big now as it's ever been. And I don't anticipate that will change even when I retire. The biggest thing is being able to get through what it takes physically for me to play a season now, what it takes, mentally. It's very grueling and it takes its toll. And it's not that you're not as determined to do it anymore. It's just, that you mentally don't know if you can do it sometimes. And that's why I think stepping back from a year, really from the year for a few months, is really important to really get a better gauge on, can I do this again, and can I devote myself again to my teammates the way that's necessary to do this job correctly, and to do it in a way that is respectful of the game and my teammates, my coaches, and the organization and the fans. And I think that was an easy decision for me this year. I didn't bat an eye, and I'm really fired up to go out there, especially with the guys that we got on this team and that O-line room in particular. I'm ready to get back at it.
We have time for one more, so go ahead, Zach.
Hey, Jason, as a follow-up to the left tackle question, you were asked specifically in regards to Jason Peters and not having the full offseason program. But I'm curious about Andre Dillard's development last year. What did you observe being with him every day, both on the practice field and in the locker room?
Yeah, no, I think Andre's a guy who's got incredible physical abilities. He's very quick twitched. He can move his feet really well. He's athletic. He's smart. He's got a lot of the things that are hard to get if you don't have them. If there was one weakness to his game last year, it was power. And I think he knows that. I think everybody knows that. And that wasn't even that big of a weakness that we couldn't go out there and win games with him, because we did at times. Now he gets a whole offseason to improve on that. He gets to get in the weight room, add some weight, add some muscle, add power. He'll be able to correct that for sure. And he can get better at that, whether it's from playing with better technique, adding some weight, adding strength. That'll all get better. And he already has the things that you can't necessarily get better at. When you want to make a guy quicker, it's hard to do that. Want to make a guy faster, it's hard to do that. But as long as he's got a big frame, which Andre's got a frame to add plenty of weight, it's only going to make him, he'll be able to correct on those little weaknesses from a year ago. And then obviously the other stuff is just more experience, He had the fortune to learn from a guy who played forever and has every trick in the book in Jason Peters. But there's no way he's going to get that amount of knowledge and that amount of repertoire this year, next year, the year after that. That takes a lifetime to acquire. So, that's something that'll constantly be improving as he goes and as he gets reps.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jason, for taking the time.